in a bygone day. They're the eyes of a man whose lust knows no bounds.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Horny Creek. My name is Mark. With me as always is my wife Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It's January 12th, 1999. No, it's not. It's 2000.
He's stuck in the 90s.
It's January 12th, 2000.
Get with the time, sir. It's a new millennium.
Wow. It is. I mean, technically it's not, but it is.
What do you mean?
There was no year zero, so technically 2001 will be the new millennium. But
Whatever.
Anyway, it is the year 2000, and we're barefoot at Capefest.
Yeah, we are.
What'd you think, Carol?
I think this was a really weird setting for an episode in Cape Side where it's supposed to be a small town.
Yeah, I think it's weird that it's a small town, but they have like some sort of giant music. It's like a Woodstock style music festival every year or whatever. Although they compare it to Lollapalooza, which I suppose makes more sense for our generation, but it's more Woodstock like, and Barefoot, you know, at Woodstock is like a thing. Mm-hmm. So they're obviously referencing that.
Like they mentioned, like it's, you know, music in the park or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the little downtown area by us has like a nice park area where they do music sometimes. It's nothing like that. People are not sleeping in tents. There are not multiple stages. Don't call it music in the park. Do it. Like, have them go to, like, what was the city they went to before? They went, like, they drove to some city, like
Newport?
Portland or something. I don't know.
Oh, Portland, Maine?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Rhode Island, yeah, is where they drove to.
So, like, have them go to Providence, Rhode Island or something.
Or even someplace interesting.
Anyway, we're going to pretend that Cape Side is a big enough town to host this music fest.
Yeah.
So, Jen and Jack.
Yeah, Jen and Jack.
Have gone. Now,
JJ.
Jack is there because what the hell is that guy's name? Ethan?
Ethan.
He runs into Ethan at the supermarket.
The grocery store.
Yeah, because him and Jen are grocery shopping. It's weird sometimes seeing them interact.
They do act like a married couple. It's weird.
Yeah.
Because he's buying stuff and she's like, what's with all the cereal? And he's like, oh, it's like, here's my breakfast cereal. Here's my lunch cereal. Here's my midnight cereal. Good old cut the roof of your mouth, Captain Crunch. Now, I like Captain Crunch, but that is not a midnight cereal. That is not a rest your palate on that cereal.
What kind of cereal?
It's a breakfast cereal. That's a toughen up your mouth, get ready for the day kind of cereal.
I see.
Because we're not talking about peanut butter crunch. We're not talking about crunch berries. We're talking about original Captain Crunch. Original ribbed for your mouth's horror. Captain Crunch.
Oh my God. See, I'm not into cereal like some people, so all of it sounds disgusting to me.
It sounds disgusting.
To have a whole day of cereal, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and whatever, not dinner, late night snack.
Here's the thing about cereal is good and delicious, and I love it, but it's not filling.
No, not at all.
That's the whole problem with it is it's like empty calories.
Exactly.
All the good cereals are like sugar and that's it. And all the cereals that are supposed to be good for you, like grape nuts or whatever, I think that's what she ends up getting in.
Ew.
Are like
disgusting.
Well, they're disgusting, but they're also just fiber.
Yeah.
Like they're fiber and carbohydrates, and that's it. And it's like that's good, I guess. The fiber's good, but like it's not filling still.
It's not. It's no good.
It's like how when you eat Chinese food and you're hungry an hour later, they say or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's because of the rice. Because the rice, you digest it really fast.
That makes sense.
You can, you might fill your stomach for a while, but then you digest it really fast, and then you're hungry again. Whereas, like protein takes longer to digest.
Right.
That's why it keeps you satiated longer. This has been Dawson's Nutrition.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like we're in health class right now.
Anyway, go on.
So Jack and Ethan run into each other at the grocery store, where Ethan tells Jack all about this concert.
You don't know about Capefest?
Like,
That's a good impersonation of him.
This is a small town.
Right.
He's a teenage boy.
Yeah.
Of course he knows about Capefest. He should.
He doesn't, though.
It's ridiculous. But he gets invited. So he drags Jen with him.
You're the one that lives here full time, he says.
Yeah.
Again, a great impersonation of Ethan.
So apparently Ethan is a 50-year-old man.
That's what he sounds like on the
It
show.
is not.
I'm really doing my New England accent here.
The fuck? You sound like Jean-Luc Picard.
What?
Okay.
Jean-Luc Picard?
Yes.
Who's that? That does not sound like Jean-Luc Picard.
It does.
Okay.
An old British man.
Make it so.
All right. Jen and Jack go to Capefest or whatever.
Yeah.
And Jack immediately leaves her to set up the tent so that he can go look for this guy.
No. Oh, yes. Leaves her to set up the tent. Okay.
It's
gotcha.
ridiculous. Like, that's mean. That's not good friendship.
No.
He's being a shithead.
He's not being a good friend this entire time.
No. So
He's trying to get laid.
I guess that's what happens.
Horny Creek style.
Teenage boys' brains. They just focus on sex and nothing else.
I have to assume that gay men have sex more often than heterosexual men.
Would not seem that way based on this episode, but I get where you're coming from.
No, but I have to assume in real life that's what happens.
I don't know. I mean, maybe because they both have a higher sex drive. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
maybe. But he leaves her, wanders around this huge place that would never be inside of Capeside, and eventually finds Ethan, who's also there by himself. And Ethan asks, "Are you here by yourself, or did you bring somebody?" So, and immediately gets himself invited to join Jack.
Yeah, because they go out, they walk, and they talk and everything, and they're talking about whatever. He asks him, he's like, "Who's your favorite member of the Foo Fighters?" Because Jack's like, Jack needs the voice. Jack's like, "I like alternative music." And he's like, "Who's your favorite member of the Foo Fighters?" And he's like, "Courtney Love."
It was pretty bad.
Which I get in a weird way. Because he's right genre of music, but wrong area or whatever.
Yeah.
But I get it because Dave Grohl was the drummer for Nirvana. And so he was in a band with Kurt Cobain. And Courtney Love was married to Kurt Cobain. So I get it. I wonder if they're friends.
I don't know. I don't even know who Dave Grohl is or whatever.
The lead singer of the Foo Fighters.
But I mean, until you say that, I don't know that. I don't pay attention to celebrities that much. You know that.
We could be heroes if just for one day or whatever.
I know the Foo Fighters.
You know the Foo Fighters.
Anyway, oh god, now I lost my fucking train of thought.
They were talking about music, and he doesn't know anything about music. And then I was talking, actually. You didn't have a train of thought. And then Ethan gets all of his shit stolen. So that's when he gets himself invited to...
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's like, "I don't have a place to sleep." And Jack's like, "Why don't you come to my tent?"
Yeah, so then Jack goes in. Now, in the meantime, Jen has found the little boy, Henry, who's in love with her.
Jen has found Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone.
He's selling hot chocolates, weirdly.
It is weird. It's his own recipe, but everyone's like, all these fucking stoners here for this this musical festival that's apparently taking place in the middle of the winter. I assume that they're supposed to be on the same schedule as we are. So January in New England, in Maine, and of course an outdoor musical festival.
Yeah, and there's no snow anywhere.
Right.
That's bizarre.
They're filming it in North Carolina or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, he's got his own recipe for hot chocolate, and she's like, "I didn't know you had a recipe for hot chocolate." And he's like, "You did a lot of shit you don't know about me."
And then she has the nerve to ask him to help.
I have a 9-inch penis. What?
She has the nerve to ask him to help her set up her tent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, she shouldn't have been left to do it in the first place. But since she was, like, asking Henry to do it, bad move, Jen. Like, low.
And at first he agrees, and then like he keeps talking, and he's like, "You didn't even fucking notice that I haven't been in the episodes.
That I've been giving you the silent treatment."
Yeah, I haven't been on the call sheet." And she's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah." And so he's all pissed off. He's like, "You know what? Do your fucking tent yourself."
Yeah. So he leaves her. Somehow though, it gets set up.
I think she figures it out or whatever.
I mean, she's a smart girl. And then as soon as Jack comes back to her, he's like, "Hey, can you, like, leave?"
Thanks for setting up the tent. Go.
Yeah. Because he wants to fuck Ethan.
Yeah, he wants to be alone with Ethan.
So she is super nice and cool about it.
It's funny to me that he hasn't kissed a boy yet. Because the whole thing is like, I guess it's virginity from the standpoint of a homosexual boy, I guess. Because, like, kind of like how Dawson's a virgin, but that's like from a heterosexual place. But it's funny to me, he hasn't even kissed a boy yet. Hasn't even held hands with a boy yet, but he's like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he is skipping over multiple steps.
Yeah.
But he has kissed a girl, so it's not like he doesn't know about making out.
Sure. He kissed a girl and he didn't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, Joey. I mean, you'd have to be gay to kiss her and not like it.
Sure.
So, yeah. So, him and Ethan are sharing his tent and talking, and then Ethan's just like, "Okay, I'm tired, night."
Yeah.
And Jack is pissed, which I think is really unfair. Like, this guy's practically a stranger. Why do you assume that anything's going to happen?
I don't know.
But that's what happens with them.
For now. Then they have a conversation after that. But
okay, I mean, do you want to just wrap up their whole storyline? We can do that.
I mean, if you want to. There is not much left.
No. So in the morning, Jack talks to Ethan and explains that he is disappointed that he thought things were going to happen. And Ethan's like, "I just want to be friends with you." Not because he doesn't find him attractive.
Yeah, he says like a bunch of times, it's like, that's not it or whatever. Basically, he's like, "Look, you're completely new to this. And if we start having sex, then the likelihood that we won't be friends anymore goes way up, because like you're gonna have sex with whoever the first one is. You're gonna have sex for a few times, and then you're gonna want to move on to another person." Like he's like, but he doesn't say this, but basically the implication is like you're in like your sample stage right now, where he's gonna want to go through a bunch of different guys or whatever, date a bunch of different guys, explore stuff, because this is so new to him, and he's like, if I'm your first, then you're just going to discard me, kind of thing. And he's like, and I like you, and I don't want to be out of your life, so that's why he doesn't want to have sex.
It's a great explanation and should make a person feel better, but at the same time kind of reeks as bullshit.
Yeah, for sure. Because if somebody wants you, then they take action, They don't like fucking sit back and not take action. So.
Especially a teenage or very young adult man.
And they, and like he kind of actively rejected him. I mean, sort of passively rejected him, but because he was making moves, and he was like, he just basically rolled over and was like, okay, let's do something else, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I get where he's coming from, like where Jack's coming from, where he's like kind of upset about it.
Well, he's like, how do I get experience? It's like trying to get a job.
Right, exactly. But yeah, and that's kind of like, so they have this understanding of like, Ethan's going to be part of the show, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
And then, Jen sees Henry later that night, and he starts playing guitar. And it's like, I guess it's that cliche of like, oh, if you want to get into a woman's pants, learn how to play guitar.
Yep, because all of a sudden she is mesmerized and all about Henry. She wants to talk to him. She's being friendly. She apologizes.
And he's like, what the fuck? Like, he's like, look, I was like obsessed with you. All I was thinking about is you and everything. And like, being on this side of unrequited love, like, he goes, it sucks. So like, fuck you, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to hang around you. Like, I don't want to you use me to make you feel better about yourself, kind of thing. Like, whatever. And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you could play." He's like, "You didn't know anything about me because you didn't want to try to get to know anything about me. So whatever."
But
It's almost like he's a different character, kind of, because he's so like self-possessed and like, I don't know, not puppy doggish.
well, he's had it. I mean, I think it's possible to be that same character and just be fed up and not tongue-tied anymore because time has passed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he tells her off, but eventually accepts her.
Well, because she comes back and she's like, hey, she apologizes. She's like, I'm sorry for how I treated you. And she's like, basically, she says, at one point, she's like, she's like, you might be younger than me or whatever, but if there's an immature one in this, like, situation, it's not you, kind of thing. Where she's like, you might be more mature than me or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of where that ends. We don't know what's going to happen.
I feel like the next episode we're going to see them like together.
I don't know. We'll see.
But I don't like it. I think they should have just left with him telling her off because truly, like, she's been so awful to him that, like, they do not belong together.
Yeah, he can find somebody else. Like, he doesn't need to be on the show either.
So then we've got Dawson.
Dawson and Joey and Principal's daughter, Erica, maybe?
I don't remember her fucking name.
I think it's Erica.
Okay.
We're going to go with Principal's daughter for now, but...
But starts out, Dawson walks into his living room and it's empty.
Oh, yeah.
Because his mom's packing up all their shit and taking it away.
Yeah.
And she's like, sorry, your dad was supposed to tell you, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, she did say that.
Like, what the fuck? Like, have some compassion for this kid. How are you going to be like, oh, don't be mad at me, but take all the furniture out of the house?
Uh-huh.
Like,
and she says to him at one point, she's like, hey, thanks for, like, not saying anything or whatever, or being so understanding. It's like, it's so much more helpful for everyone or whatever. And it's like, it's more helpful for you.
right.
For him not to complain. Like,
Yeah, I don't like her. She's pissing me off. She's being very selfish.
and so Joey's like, how do you feel, basically? And he's like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, he keeps lying and saying he's fine.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm glad it's over or whatever. Every time somebody brings it up, he just sort of pushes it away of like, I don't care.
And then on top of this family stress, he goes to check out the video camera because he wants to make a movie.
Yeah.
And the principal's daughter is wrapping it up and starting to roll it out. And he's like, okay, hand over the camera. That was kind of insane. Like the fact that he did not realize what was happening there and that he just assumed she was going to just give him the camera.
Well, she's black, so he thinks she's the help.
I guess.
That's New England attitude for you. But she's like, oh, I have it for 3 weeks or for 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, a week is a limit or something.
And she's like, oh, I cleared it with the teacher. It's okay.
Such bullshit.
The teacher whose livelihood my dad depends on my dad for or whatever.
Like, she should have to follow the same rules as everybody else. It's fine that she beat him to signing it out.
Sure.
But she should have to return it in a week.
I agree.
Joey is loving it. She is so amused. She thinks it's hilarious that he's not getting his way for once.
Yeah.
And he is not okay.
Or like everyone else's creek, she says.
And then he goes to the principal's daughter's house to tell her off or apologize.
No, he goes to try to convince her that it's not fair and he should get the camera. But he starts off like buttering her up and she's like, I know you're here for the fucking camera or whatever. And then her dad shows up, the principal, and he's like, Dawson, have dinner with us. And he's like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, well, I'm pulling rank as principal. I didn't know the principal's like responsibilities extended to telling you what to do outside of the school.
Right? Ridiculous.
So he compels him to have dinner with them, Clockwork Orange style. or I guess Texas Chainsaw Massacre style. And they have this like kind of awkward dinner. And it's clear like there's a weird dynamic because of the divorce. Mm-hmm. So then later they go back to her room. And they're sitting there or whatever talking. And he's like, your parents are divorced. Like, you know, how does that affect you or whatever? And she really like opens up emotionally about it. And he's like, huh. He's like, that's like, you're so brave for like opening up or whatever. Like, I still wrestle with my feelings about it. And I don't know exactly how to feel. And she's like, you don't have to talk about it. And he's like, no, you opened up to me. So like, and then he starts to say like, how he feels about it. Like, he has anger and stuff like that.
They have a very good conversation. And before it gets too emotional, like, she says something that I thought was really cool. Yeah. Because he comments how, wow, looking around your room, you wouldn't even tell you're into making movies or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I have other interests. You have to. Otherwise, you end up making movies about other movies.
Yeah, which is 100% true, because it's what he's doing.
Yeah. So
It's the same thing with writing. Like if all you care about's books, then you start writing books that are just copies of other books.
Right.
Any artistic, it's the same thing with paintings and stuff too. Mm-hmm. Any artistic form is about expressing yourself and your interests, your worldview, and stuff like that. And the art you consume helps shape that. So, like, people take, for instance, like Stephen King. Stephen King loved Richard Matheson. And if you read a Richard Matheson book, after reading a bunch of Stephen King books, you're like, oh, yeah, this sounds a lot like Stephen King. Like, he got a lot of his style from Richard Matheson. But the stuff that he writes about and the points of view that he is completely different because they come from him. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with movies. So, like, yeah, if you have to care about people and, you know, their stories and stuff like that to make good movies.
So after his visit with her, he goes home and starts redecorating his room. He takes down all the movie posters.
All the Steven Spielberg posters are going away.
E.T.'s going. Like, it's all going in the closet.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
And Joey comes over and notices and is like, what is up? What is happening?
She's like, you're changing yourself, Dawson.
And he's like, well, you know, the principal's daughter talked to me. And she is so insanely jealous.
Oh, yeah. She's so pissed.
Because he opened up to the principal's daughter and he's listening to her and changing himself. And she's like, I wanted you to talk to me. I tried to talk to you and you wouldn't talk to me. What the hell? I get her frustration, but I think he even points this out to her. Like, it's not about her. It's about him.
Right. Yeah. First of all, it's not about her. Second of all, she's the one that pushed him away. Like, you know, like 3 times or whatever. And like, third of all, he's like, I didn't even mention anything about Discount Dawson. So apparently that's still a thing or whatever, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
The dude at the college.
We'll see. We'll see if we see him.
But she's like, all whatever. She like storms off. And then later she comes back where she's like, do I still have ladder privileges? Apparently the entire town has ladder privileges, I guess.
Yeah, so many people have climbed that ladder. It's kind of crazy.
Are we really never going to see that fucking chick again?
Which chick?
Jen's like half sister or whatever.
Oh, I don't know.
Because like they talked about that on Thanksgiving and everything, and the mom like admitted that was her daughter. She gave up for adoption, but like, was that the end of that storyline?
Well, I
don't know why that just occurred to me now, but it did.
That was only like 6 weeks ago or something, and that they didn't even have an episode every week, so it's not really that long ago.
Yeah,
in Horny Creek time.
It's weird to me. Anyway, so yeah, she comes back in and is like, "Hey, here's a poster." She gives him a poster of something.
Oh, geez. It was something like she had this whole speech about when they were kids. It was something he was into.
I don't remember what it was, though. It wasn't sports. It was it art? Was it like drawing? Was it whatever? Because she gave it to him and she was like, yeah, don't you remember we experienced this or whatever? And when we were kids and like you wanted to be this so badly, like you haven't always only been about movies, you wanted to like do this too.
What the fuck was it? This is gonna drive me
music?
crazy. I think it might have been some kind of music. Yes, they were blaring the Beatles or something.
Oh, that's right. It was the John Lennon poster.
Yeah.
You know that like cartoonish like characterization of John Lennon with the glasses and everything. She's like, yeah, that one summer we were into the Beatles or whatever, and you wanted to be like the next John Lennon, and you wanted to write like these beautiful songs or whatever. And she's like, so you haven't always been about movies. You do have other interests.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't love their interactions anymore.
No, she's very annoying. She's an annoying character.
And the final thing was Pacey.
Yeah.
And Andy.
Yes.
Because Andy is being annoying, as always, and stalking the director of the school play.
I want to be your assistant director because you're directing Barefoot in the Park.
Now, I feel like there has to have been a more appropriate time to talk to him about this. He's going to have his lunch. He says to her, I'm having my lunch. Why aren't you having your lunch? Like, talk to me later. And she gets in front of him like she's throwing her body in front of an oncoming car. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I want to be your assistant director. And he's like, oh, why didn't you just say so? What?
Yeah, that's weird.
Because she didn't want to be an actress?
That's what he assumed. He assumed that she wanted to audition or whatever.
So she just immediately gets that. I mean, I would feel like that'd probably go to somebody you've worked with before that you maybe have some kind of trust or relationship with. But sure, Andy gets it.
Yeah, I've never directed a play, so I don't know.
Then they're doing the auditions, and everybody sucks.
Except this one kid. This one kid's actually doing a decent job, and she's like, oh, I think this is our guy. He's got something. And he's like, nah, I already got somebody. Which, like, this is how plays work and shit, isn't it?
I bet it is.
Where he's like, yeah, I got somebody already. There's this kid that's natural, and he's a natural with comedy. We knew exactly who it was.
Oh, yeah.
And he hadn't been in the episode yet, so we knew. And he's like, I did it in exchange for giving him a good grade in English or whatever. And,
ridiculous.
So, and he just admits to fucking like academic fraud or whatever to her. And it's Pacey.
Of course.
And she's like, oh my God, this is my thing. So they have this big fight. And she's like, you need to quit.
Like, how fucking entitled and self-involved do you have to be to assume that the other person's going to quit just because you're doing something?
Mm-hmm. It's like, why don't you quit? And which he eventually says eventually.
But they both stay on and decide they can work together. I hope this does not mean they're going to get back together.
Me too.
Because I hate them together. Absolutely hate it.
And the director is fucking competent. She says as much. She's like, he sucks. Like, his plays are terrible. Why do you want to be his assistant director, first of all?
Well, she said she was doing this to help get over Pacey. And then he showed up there, and that, kind of threw a wrench in her getting over Pacey plan.
But it turns out he is, because he's doing, they're doing a scene where he's talking to the girl or whatever. And he's like, at first she's like that detached sarcasm. That's what you should do. And the director's like, no, angrier and louder. You're angry in this scene or whatever. And he's like, so he does it over the top, like, rawr, and he's like, yeah, exactly like that. And he's like, that's what you want?
Yeah, because it was awful.
Yeah. So he does suck. He doesn't how do you continue to, there must be nobody in this school that has any kind of artistic talent.
Well, the director of the plays is usually either if there's an acting professor or the English professor.
Yeah, I guess.
He's the English professor, so makes sense. But yeah, this particular episode, all of these characters kind of irritated me because all of them are self-involved and entitled.
I mean, that is teenagers, but
I guess so.
But anyway, so like the director, I don't know, is gone for some reason. Like he doesn't show up. And,
Yeah.
And Pacey's like, Andy, you do it. And then so she directs much better than him. And when he comes back, he's like, oh, I like that. I like what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. So at least he recognizes good acting.
Yeah. So maybe the play won't suck.
We'll see. But that's everything. That's the episode.
It is.
It's a weird episode, but
Very much.
it was good.
If you say so.
I liked it. I liked it for the most part. We got some decent character stuff. But Carol, tell people where they can find their own shitty director.
You can write us at latefee1994 at AOL.com. Mm-hmm. Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yep.
And share the tapes with your friends.
Okay, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.